Hey guys, I'm Jessie, and today we are going to talk about another one of my favorite tropes, and that is the reluctant hero. It seems like in fantasy books in particular, this is a pretty common trope, and I personally absolutely love it. We do see it as well in sci-fi, and I think there's like one sci-fi recommendation here in this stack that I have for you today, but it's a very, very common fantasy trope, and I love to see it. I love to see the reluctant hero, where the person either just wants to live their life and be normal and chill and like have nothing to do with saving the world, or they like don't want the powers that they have or the abilities that they have, and they kind of get like roped into it, like they don't really have a choice by situation or whatever it may be. They kind of are roped into this whole saving the world or going on the quest or doing whatever when they wouldn't have chosen it for themselves to begin with. And they're kind of like, I guess so. I guess I'll do it. Like, I have to do it. I'm gonna do it. But like, I don't want to. They are reluctant. They want to just stay home and chill and be normal. And it's one of my favorite things to see, because a lot of times these reluctant heroes end up being super relatable, but also like they are very, like, I guess I feel like real to life. They're very complex, and they usually end up being more enjoyable to read than like the person that's like, yeah, I'm gonna be the hero, and like that's totally into it. So I have a lot of fun reading this. I have a big old stack of books over here that we're going to talk about that kind of fall somewhere within this trope. And some of them are pretty popular books, some of them not so much. And hopefully you enjoy this, get some good recommendations. Let me know at the end if you've read any of these and what your favorite reluctant hero book is. The first one we have is The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. And this is a standalone YA fantasy. And our main character is what they call an Ever Witch. So she has the power of all 4 seasons, depending on what season it is, where in this world, most witches only have the power of 1 season, and their magic in other seasons is like very lessened. And she is the only Ever Witch within like, 1,000 years or something along those lines. So like nobody knows what to do with her, but they really think that she could be like the one to kind of save them and save like all the catastrophes that are going on in the world at this time in this book. And she wants nothing to do with it. She wants to just get rid of her magic altogether. She's like, I don't want to have these like extra powers. I don't even want to be a witch anymore. I just want to be normal and live a normal life. And like that's kind of her struggle throughout the whole book. And I really enjoyed this. I actually have a full review for it if you want to check that out. I also have a blog review fully written that you can read on my website that I'll leave down below as well. But yeah, this was a fun one, and she is definitely a reluctant hero. Next up, we have our sci-fi mention, and that is The Disasters by M.K. England. Again, I have a full review for this book if you want to check it out. This is such a fun book. It is one of my favorite, like sci-fi standalone kind of YA meets new adult. And we're following this group of like ragtag misfits who are kicked out of a school in space. On like day 1, they are on a shuttle to be sent back to Earth because they all dropped out. All of a sudden the school is attacked, and they are the only people to survive and escape. And they end up kind of on the run, and they end up having to like go up against whoever it is that is like attacking the school and like trying to kill people, and now they're chasing them. And it's like they did not want to be these heroes. They wanted to just like go back to Earth with their tail between their legs, flunk out, and just live their normal lives. But they end up as these like intergalactic found family heroes in space, and I love this book so much. If you haven't read this, definitely pick it up and check out my review on it. Next up, we have City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. Again, our main character in this is a reluctant hero, which is going to be the theme for this whole video. Surprise, surprise, spoiler alert. And she ends up calling a djinn one night during one of her cons in Cairo, has no idea what she's doing, whisked away to this magical city of Devabad, and kind of ends up like forced into being this, not really like savior, but some people view her as like, you know, the savior of her people, and then like other tribes within this magical city kind of look down on her, and she really just wants to like survive. She doesn't really want to like lead a revolution and things along those lines. Like she just wants to survive, and she, you know, that's not really an option, but I love her so much. I loved this book. I actually just recently finished the last book in the series, and y'all, it was so good. This has like catapulted up to a series favorite of mine. For sure. So if you haven't checked it out, highly recommend checking out the Devabad series if you want a good, badass, reluctant hero. And would this be one of my videos if I didn't mention a Sarah Beth Durst book? No. Next we have Queen of Blood by Sarah Beth Durst, one of my absolute all-time favorite authors. And really, this could go for this book or the second book in the series. The second book in the series is literally called The Reluctant Queen. So the fact that this is like a reluctant hero story, I mean, it's in the name, right? Even in our first book, though, our main character, Zelina, is not really wanting to be like the savior of the realm. She just wants to like do her part, right? She is able to control the magic in the world, which in this world, females can sometimes control like the spirits around them. And these aren't like fun, happy spirits. These are like gon' kill you spirits. So it like helps to have people that can kind of negate that. And she ends up being like sent away to this school where she's training, and like she's not very good. Like she's not bad. She tries real hard, but she's not like super gifted, and she's not like a Mary Sue. Like she's just not the best of the best, right? She's just kind of getting by, trying real hard. And she doesn't want to be like the queen. She doesn't want to be this like big savior, but it's something that just kind of keeps getting pushed on her. And in book 2, which is literally called The Reluctant Queen, like I just said, we have another character, so a new character from this book, and she is my absolute favorite character. And she is a mom of 2, and she has, you know, just raw power galore, but she does not want to be involved in any of this mess about saving the kingdoms, saving the world. She just wants to raise her kids in peace. And can I blame her? No, not at all. And I love it because she is kind of thrust into this world, and then Delina's kind of thrust into this, and both of them end up having to kind of work together. So I love it. We have a lot of reluctant heroes in this series. So if you haven't picked this one up, I also have a review of like the whole series. So I'll link that too. And I don't think we can talk about reluctant heroes in books without talking about The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I mean, Katniss really has no desire to be like this hero of her people. She just wanted to save her sister. She just wants to survive. Like, she does not want to be a figurehead. She does not want to, like, start a revolution and all the things that kind of end up happening in this series. She just wants to survive and save her sister. Like, that is it. But, you know, that isn't what ends up happening. Most people have read this, but, like, to me, this is, like, one of the first, like, reluctant hero books that I, like, vividly remember reading and being like, wow, she just wants to be a normal person, but, like, that's not in her cards. So this is definitely a classic YA reluctant hero dystopian type book. So pick it up if you haven't. If somehow you have not read The Hunger Games, like, recommend. Good time. All right, next up we have The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. And while we follow multiple main characters in this book, one of them is definitely a reluctant hero. He is on a ship trying to basically just find his wife, find his missing wife. That's it. That is all he wants to do. He is out to find his missing wife. He don't want nothing to do with saving the world, saving the kingdom, any of the politics. Like, he doesn't want anything to do with it. He just wants to save his wife. But, of course, this is a fantasy book, and he can't just save his wife. He's got to save everybody, and he's got to team up with people and figure out this, like, overarching mystery. And I know I'm not explaining this book very well, but there is so much going on. Like, it is so good. Like I said, we follow multiple main characters in this. Our one main character, Lynn, is the daughter of the Emperor, and she doesn't have very much of a memory. She cannot remember, like, most of her childhood. She can't remember anything from, like, you know, a few years ago. And she's trying to regain her memory while also competing with her brother in order to, like, become the rightful heir to her father's throne. And in this world, we have what they call, like, bone magic, and it's so cool. So basically, everybody that's not a member of the royal family has to give up a shard of bone from behind their ear, and this shard of bone is used to power constructs. Well, when the bone breaks, like, in the construct, the person that was associated with that bone, like, dies, right? So it's really terrible, right? They're, like, literally using their people in order to, like, make these magical beings. So it kind of sucks, right? And then we also follow a couple different perspectives. That's the main one. But then we follow a man who is looking for his wife, and she had gone missing. So he is on this quest to find her, and he ends up kind of running across different people and different instances where, you know, this whole missing wife thing might be part of something bigger. So as much as he doesn't want to get dragged into any of the politics or anything, he does. And it's fantastic. And there's an animal companion that I love. All right, next we have another one of my all-time favorite books, and that is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. In this book, it is a very much like a get the band back together. You can see, like, the tag on the book is the boys are back in town. This book is hysterical. If you like things like Dungeons and Dragons and classic rock music. So if you don't get the, like, classic rock music references, if, like, 70s rock is not something that you know and love and enjoy, this might actually not hit for you. It hit for me because I got pretty much every single song reference, right? I did not get any of the D&D references, but, like, to me that wasn't as big of an element for my enjoyment. The song references were. So we're following this, like, middle-aged group of men who have to get their once famous band of, like, marauders back together to go save the daughter of one of their members. Now, these are, like, some middle-aged men. We're talking cracking backs, bad knees, all of the above. And then we have Clay Cooper, who is the narrator, and he doesn't really want to go on this quest, right? He's like, I love my friends, but I don't want to do this. Like, I have a wife, I have a kid, I am retired, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to go, like, killing monsters and saving the day. Like, this is for young guys. This ain't for me. But, you know, the fact that his friend's daughter is missing, and, like, he feels really compelled to, like, hold the band together and help his friend find his daughter. And he's just kind of, like, a drug along when all he really wants to do is stay home and, you know, raise his daughter with his wife. And he's like, I really don't want to be doing this last tour, but guess I have no choice. And he is definitely a reluctant hero, and I love Clay Cooper so much. Next up, we have The Gilded Ones by Inamina Forna. This is a first book in a YA series. I think book 2 either just came out or is coming out really soon. I know it's coming out sometime this year. I just don't know if it's out or not. In this world, we're following this girl who is basically tested at age 16 like all the other girls are. They are, like, cut, and if their blood bleeds red, then they're, like, normal people, and if their blood bleeds gold, then they are, like, killed or sent off or whatever. They're disappeared. They don't really know what happens to these people whose blood bleeds gold because they believe they are, like, demons, I think. It's been a while since I've read it. But on the day of her 16th birthday, obviously, she's cut, her blood bleeds gold, and she is kind of sent away and forced to be in this, like, army of special girls like her look, she don't want anything to do with this. She just wanted to be a normal kid. She didn't want powers. She didn't want to be a quote unquote demon. She didn't want anything to do with revolution. Nothing along those lines. She just wanted to be normal. But because of who she is and the power that she has within her, that's not an option for her. And as much as that's what she wants, she basically has to just do what she has to do in order to survive. And this was really well done. Is it perfect? No, but I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see where it goes in book 2. And our final reluctant hero book is An Ember and the Ashes by Sabatahir. I actually just finished book 3, and I'm on book 4 now. Love this series. It is so good. I'm excited to see how it ended. But pretty much every hero in this book is pretty reluctant to start with. Like, we have Lila, who is a member of, like, the underclass. They're called the Scholars. And her parents have been killed. They were members of the Resistance. And she's just kind of living with her grandparents and her brother. And then one day her brother is taken. Her grandparents are killed. And she, as much as she doesn't want to, like, join the Resistance, she kind of unwittingly does in order to find and save her brother. So she goes undercover at this, like, military school for the upper class, and that is where she meets Elias. And Elias is in the school. He is the son of like the head general, and he doesn't want to be at this school. He does not want to be a army general in this world. He just wants to escape and live his life and not have to kill anybody and not have to do anything. And so he wants to escape. She just wants to find her brother. And they kind of meet, and that is kind of our main catalyst of this story. Neither one of them wants to, like, be a revolutionary or, you know, save anyone other than, like, that one person closest to them. But they kind of end up, again, like, thrust into this world where they have to do so much more than they initially thought they would have to do. And all along the way, it's like, neither one of them wants to do it, but they just kind of have to do it. So definitely pick up this book if you're wanting another set of reluctant heroes, because they are both reluctant in their own different ways. All right. Well, those are all of my reluctant hero book recommendations for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of any of these books, and let me know what your favorite reluctant hero fantasy book is if I did not mention it here, so I can pick it up if I haven't read it myself, because I'm always looking for some good recommendations. All right, well, my name is Jessie, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.